and welcome to this Dialogue Extra. I'm Marcia Franklin. I'm here with two authors, Shawn Vestal, who hails from Spokane but grew up in Idaho, and his book is called God-Forsaken Idaho, and Judith McConnell Steele, who lives here in Boise, and her book is called Angel of Esperanza. We talked in the main program about what's in their books, and they also gave us recommendations for good winter reading. Now I'd like to talk a little bit more about how you write and how you came to get your works published. Because I think it's always helpful, it's always interesting to me, and then I think helpful for others out there. So Shawn, I'll start with you. You are a reporter, you continue to write a column for the Spokesman Review, but you always had this desire to write fiction as well. Talk to me a little bit about how this collection came together. Was it a series of short stories that you wrote over time that then you put together, or how did that work?
I mean, I've written short stories most of my adult life, and for years and years I sent them out and got them rejected. And 6 or 8 years ago, I decided to enter the MFA program at Eastern, which I did while I worked, and that was a great experience for me. And the main takeaway for me was just that I needed to work harder on the stories. I think being a journalist helps you get started, but for me, it makes you a little quick to stop, to think it's done. And so I look back at my early stories now, and they're just drafts, and I would think they were finished, and I would send them to the New Yorker. Why isn't the New Yorker publishing my sloppy drafts? I didn't understand. So in the MFA program, I just worked with some people who were just sort of never satisfied, but also supportive, and so I just learned the habits of rewriting and revising and challenging the work. And so I wrote stories in that period of time that began to get published, and then put them together into a manuscript and got an agent, and then we sent it out and got a publisher that way. That was a fairly traditional route once that happened.
So it was really just honing down, getting to work that helped. I think that's really interesting what you say about being a journalist and how, the daily deadlines. You just have to get it done, which a lot of people can't do.
Yeah. And
so this process is different. It's like chipping, carving, smoothing.
And for me, what I need to do is do something and then break it open and do it again, and then break it open and do it again. And that my good friend Sam Ligon, who's an author also, that's his sort of way of thinking about it, and it just seemed right to me all along, because I want to be done. I think most writers want to be finished, and that desire to be finished for me is an obstacle. So I have to finish something and then get to a point to where I can begin revising it enough that it's impossible to consider it finished. You have to really break it, so you have to go the distance again.
And we talked in the main program about how when Judith was writing, some of these characters would kind of keep appearing to her, and I've heard that from other writers. But that is not necessarily what happens to you, is it?
I feel like I understand the people more and more the more I draft the story. I don't start with clear personalities necessarily in mind. I think I have maybe a colder or a more stylistic kind of mind. I think about it almost as a kind of problem to be worked through in a language.
But will you see a scene come to you first, or a word, a phrase, and that's how you start your short story?
Something like that. Often, a phrase or a scene or a predicament. I'll sometimes have a predicament, and then I really do just have to build it. And very often, I won't know what the next step is.
That I've heard from a lot of people, and
so
I think it's important, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be open, not to have it all scripted out.
Yeah.
You may not know what the next step is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see what you've done, and a lot of times I discover things later that I've done unintentionally.
Like put snippets of your past in that you're not even aware of?
Some of that, or mostly, I don't know, little repetitions of language, or characters doing something that are secondary that maybe should be primary. Characters lying all the time.
Oh.
Why are they lying all the time? And then that will become...
That was one of the stories.
Yeah. And the early drafts of that story, the lying was incidental to other kinds of action. So, and then in reading it and realizing, basically, this guy is a liar. So I didn't start off thinking, okay, I'm going to write a story about a liar. I thought, well, eventually I found that that's who he was by rewriting it. So.
Very interesting. And finally, what's your process? How many, you have a job, you're a dad, you teach, so where do you find time for writing and when?
Well, I have one day a week that I have great luxury to sort of focus on the fiction writing, and then I write around the edges on the other days when I can. I usually try to steal an hour or two on the weekend if I can. And then for me, a lot of it is thinking. I try to be ready. Often when I sit down, the next step of whatever I'm working on has been bouncing around in my head a little bit. I take notes, I carry a little book around and those kinds of things. And so I'm often ready to go when I sit down, and I write through wherever I'm thinking, and then I try to write into what I don't know, which is, I try
where
to
the
move.
flashlight is.
And then think
As we
about
talked
that.
about in the main program, yeah. Judith, what about you? How much time are you able to devote to your writing? What's your process?
It varied because this was a 6-year process, so it varied quite a bit because I did have other work I was doing with my poetry and working with artists, collaborative process. But then I eventually decided, okay, this has to be, and that was about 1.5 to 2 years where I really devoted just time to the book. And it was full time. It was full time, and I had an office away from my house that I went to.
Is that important?
I go back and forth. There are times when I can be at home. I have an office there. It's next to the laundry room, unfortunately. So when I start doing more laundry than writing, I know it's time to go find another place. And that's one of my And also, there's a quality when that's all you're doing. There's a quality of loneliness, which is one of the reasons I like collaborations. And I find that I can get an office in a building where there are other people around, and I don't spend any other time with them. But it's just that idea that there's a community there and a place that I'm going where people are working, and this is my workspace. So.
And we talked in the main program about how this particular story came to you and how characters kept coming to you. You have an interesting story, though, I think, about, it's set in a fictional town in Brazil. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you lived there as a Peace Corps volunteer. You don't now. And you wanted to make it accurate. That's the part of being a journalist, I think, that comes in is if the details aren't right, people may put the book away. And you were struggling because you were, all of a sudden, your characters took you to a plantation and there's a sugar mill, and goodness, what do I know about sugar mills in Brazil? And I think this is a fun story about how we can stumble across something that really helps us.
Yes, and that's one of the times when the journalism background really helped me. I knew I needed to find someone. People talk about write what you know, and what I say is write what you want to know, and then go find the people that know. And I looked and looked for some description that was specifically about Brazilian sugarcane plantations and was finding nothing, and was over in Powell's with my husband. And
Heaven on earth.
Yes, and of course I was in the poetry fiction part, and he was over in gardening and found me because he knew where I would be. And he had this book which is about this thick, and it's Brazilian sugarcane plantations, 1550 to 1835. And it's truly the most boring book I have ever read. But he asked me, do you think this would be, I was like, yes, this is it, this is it.
It gave you the details that you needed.
Absolutely. It even had drawings of different types of mills and sugar houses, so that I had a choice. And in the middle of this endless book of ledgers of amounts of sugar, amounts of cane brought in, there was one telling detail that I couldn't believe, and it was what I call the axe on the wall. It was just a description that there was always an axe on the wall in the mill house, and the reason for that was that people would get their arms caught in the mills, and they had to chop off the arm to save the person and save the millstones. And why that was in there, I don't know, but it was worth everything else.
It was the mysterious detail that
yes,
helped make
and really helped me
conversation.
set the scene for
Yeah.
that particular description.
And I know as a journalist too, you will interview people to try and get more information. Maybe you do this too, on a particular subject.
Yes.
Like, what is it like to run drugs in a plane? Well, gosh, what do I know about that? But my character seems to be wanting to do that, so I better find out how that's
Right,
done. And
right.
again, that's where the journalism can come into play. You're not
Yes.
afraid to pick up the phone and start working on it.
Absolutely, and that was not for this book. That was for a short story I was
Mm-hmm.
working on. But and it took me a while to find somebody who was willing to talk to
I'll
me.
bet.
But eventually, and at that point, I was still at the Statesman.
Mm-hmm.
But once he found out this is not a story for the paper,
Right.
he was quite willing to tell me how he had done it and what it took. And again, there was one telling detail. He told me that when you fly into these places, you don't turn off the plane's engine. You keep the props going, and you do not let them chock your wheels, so that if anything happens, you can get out of there immediately.
So you can take that detail and
Yeah.
and put it in. I think that's very important, because I know if I read a book and I see something's off or it doesn't seem right to me, or I know it's not right, then it calls into question everything else about the book.
It will take
So-
the reader right out of the story.
Right. Publishing. You mentioned you'd set off your stories time and time again. How did it finally click and work for this book, which is an imprint of Houghton Mifflin?
It's Amazon is started a house, a traditional publishing house, in addition to its kind of self-publishing platforms, and they have partnered with Houghton Mifflin, and it's called Little A now is the house, and so it's
you've got an
a new
agent.
part. Yeah, I have an agent, and it was submitted to the traditional Big Six houses and some university presses and other things like that, and.
But what was the key for you? Was it getting that agent and getting a good agent to
get the book published?
to push your work for you, or was it
I
finally
think it's
having...
a combination of things. My agent is great, and she kept trying different things. And the editor of this new imprint is someone who had reviewed an anthology that had a story of mine in it. So there was a connection there. And what you find, of course, is like with anything, these little connections matter, and they pay off in various ways. And so they had a conversation about it, and his name is Ed Park, and he's a wonderful editor, also a novelist who wrote The Personal Days, which is a wonderful novel. But he and I just, I liked Ed a lot, and he was interested, and so they made an offer, and that's how that happened.
And so it's actually part of Amazon. That's interesting. That
It is.
they're moving
And
into the
that's-
publishing world. That must be controversial.
It is, yeah. And so, like, Barnes & Noble doesn't stock it.
Interesting.
Certain numbers of independent bookstores don't stock it, and I understand that. You know, I mean, I'm grateful that somebody published my book, but I also I understand the issues between smaller retailers and Amazon, and so
Would you
It's
might
been a mixed-
do it differently next time, or you,
well, I mean, the choice that I had was. I think I would have done the same thing just because I didn't, because
Right.
it would have meant not publishing the book. So
Sure.
I'm happy that it exists. So some of the issues, it would be great if they didn't exist, but we're at a time where it seems like any route you go has some potential sort of downside to it.
and talk about the Kindle single. I mentioned that at the end of the main program. It's an essay about your father, which I found very beautiful. In a way, your reconciliation with him, but in a way not. You know, some of these questions that still linger out there, nothing's really sewn up. And that's an interesting route as well, to publish it as a single. On Kindle, I downloaded it for, I think, $2 or something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I don't know. And
Is that the wave of the future, or?
I don't know. I mean, I feel, I'm a little old-fashioned, you know. I mean, I don't object to people reading things that way, but it almost feels like it doesn't exist to me when it only exists digitally. And
so in that instance, you might do it differently and maybe have had it be put in a magazine, something that you could pick up.
I might have, and I'm appreciative to the people who made that happen. You know, my editors worked with me to do that, and I'm happy that it exists. But I would love for it to be in a physical form, and,
maybe it
and
can
I
be.
miss that.
Yeah, that tactile part of it. And Judith, what about you? It was quite a journey for you as well.
Yes.
To get your book published.
I got it through friend to friend, got an agent, a New York agent, and she worked very hard for me and sent it out to a number of houses, and there were more houses when she was sending out than there are now, and was very committed to it and was not able to sell it, and that was really hard for me because we came very close several times, but it was really difficult at that level.
What were people telling you? What was the feedback you were getting?
It's a great story, really well written. It comes down to a choice of this book or one other book, because we're only going to do one novel each season that's by an unknown author, and also if you had a name that sounded more Latina, this would help, which was crazy. I was also getting a lot of, this is a person to watch. And I was like, but I want this book published.
Stop watching me.
Yeah, don't watch me. Look at the book. And I also had, I have to say, through all of this, I had a suspicion that it might be difficult, even if it was published, for it to have the life I wanted for it. You have, at least at that point, a very short window of time that you can make, that this book can make a name, or else it's gone. And I really was hoping that if this didn't work, that I could go to smaller publishers. And after this whole thing, I put it away for a while and just took it out again a couple of years ago with the idea that I might do something, but I better read it first and see if I still even like it or want it out there. So I did, and I found some things that I needed to work on. And
then your own angel came.
My angel came, yes. I took it to a workshop at Aspen and got some really great feedback there. And this woman said, I will help you. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to go the agent route again. And I just was weary of that, I have to be honest. And so I thought, I'm going to ask a friend what advice she gives me for how I should proceed with this. And I
because self-publishing is an option too now.
It is, and I was thinking about that, but I had been encouraged to go out and try these other routes first. So I went to Elaine Ambrose, who has Mill Park Publishing, and she established it about 10 years ago. And she had not done any fiction, so I knew I wasn't going with that. It was just to ask for advice. And we met for coffee, and I told her what the story was, and she said, I might want to publish this. I want to get into fiction, and I think I'd like this. So we left that coffee date, and I almost had an accident in the parking lot. I was just so shocked that, the door had been closed for so long, and then suddenly with me pushing against it, it just opened
and
up.
now it's won a couple of Idaho Book Awards, and
yes.
You have a beautiful cover. Both of you have very,
Yes.
very interesting covers, I think. So that helps.
And again,
people.
that's not something that, I don't know what your experience was, but that's not something that is all a guarantee with a lot of the larger houses. But for me, it was, I found this painting, and I had a card and took it. Can you?
Yeah, it's up on the screen.
Okay. And took it to Elaine, and she said, "This is it. We have to do this." And I doubt that would have happened with.
You get more personal
Yes.
attention with the
Yes.
smaller houses.
Yes, and I've heard other stories too about people having real problems with the cover they end up with.
Right. Right.
That it's a problem.
So things work out the way they're supposed to work out. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, there's a sort of a cliched Western type of book cover that I was almost, which is big sky, a little bit of land,
Right.
maybe some
We
mountains
have your cover
at
up.
the
It's
bottom.
definitely not that.
Yeah, okay. So, and there was some versions of that
Yeah.
and I have to say my publisher and editor, they were great. They allowed us to ask them to go back 2 or 3 times and try different things. And I feel like this one is, it feels right to me. It's a little provocative. I know my mother doesn't love it.
What is it? It's Joseph Smith.
It's Joseph Smith and the beehive.
Oh, beehive,
to me,
yeah.
that was great. That's where I felt like someone had.
Because the beehive stayed.
The beehive stayed, and just that idea is very. It's in the DNA of the LDS faith, and so I was happy with that.
Right. Right. Well, all around it came together for both of you, and I think that journey is an interesting one. I always love talking to authors about that because it does give people out there hope. Because there are down times. There's down times for documentary filmmakers as well when they can't get money or can't keep filming or whatever. But just keep at it. Keep at it. If you've got a story to tell, tell it.
Yeah.
And you both did, and I'm happy you're here to talk about your works. Thank you very much for staying to do this extra as well. I appreciate
Thank you
it.
for asking.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You bet. You've been listening to Shawn Vestal and Judith McConnell Steele. Both are authors with new works out. Shawn's is called God-Forsaken Idaho. It's a book of short stories I hope you'll take a look at. And same with Judith's book. It's called The Angel of Esperanza. Has some mystery in it, magic and mystery. Both good books to read as you try and get through this winter, which looks like it's going to be a bit of a long one. I'm Marcia Franklin. Thanks for tuning in for this Dialogue Extra.